The story of Colonel Sanders. In a world obsessed with early success, where people are building million-dollar startups in their 20s and influencers rise to fame overnight, there's a story that humbly reminds us that it's never too late to succeed. That story belongs to Harland David Sanders, better known as Colonel Sanders, the man behind Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC. But before the iconic white suit, the finger-lickin chicken, and the global fame, Sanders was a man who faced failure, poverty, rejection, and heartbreak, again and again. Sanders was born in 1890 in Henryville, Indiana. Life wasn't easy from the start. His father died when Harland was just 5 years old. His mother had to work long hours to support the family, leaving young Harland to take care of his siblings and learn how to cook for them. By the age of 7, he was already preparing meals for the family. School didn't hold his interest for long. He dropped out in the 6th grade, but not because he wasn't smart. He just didn't fit the mold of traditional education. He would later say that much of what made him successful came from life experience, not textbooks. Over the next several decades, Sanders wore many hats: farmer, streetcar conductor, railroad fireman, insurance salesman, steamboat operator, and even lawyer for a brief time. He couldn't seem to find one job that stuck. Every time he thought he found stability, something would go wrong. But Harland never gave up. He kept moving, he kept trying. By his 40s, he began cooking for travelers at a gas station in Corbin, Kentucky. There was no restaurant. He served meals on his own dining table in the back of the station. His food, especially his fried chicken, was so good that word spread fast. Eventually, he opened a small restaurant nearby and perfected his secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices. Business grew, and by the 1950s, he had a solid local reputation. Just as things were looking up, disaster struck. The government built a new interstate highway that bypassed Corbin, taking away most of Sanders' traffic and customers. His restaurant, once thriving, was suddenly deserted. At the age of 65, Colonel Sanders was forced to close his business. He had no money, just a small monthly pension of $105 from Social Security. Most people would have accepted this as the end of the road. They would have said, "I'm too old to start over," but not Sanders. At age 65, instead of retiring, he packed up his car with pressure cookers and bags of flour and spices and hit the road. He began visiting restaurants, offering them his chicken recipe in exchange for a small percentage of each sale. What followed was a journey of relentless rejection. Restaurant after restaurant said no. Some laughed at him, others told him he was crazy. He slept in his car, he faced humiliation and defeat over and over again. Not 10, not 100, but over 1,000 restaurants rejected him. That's right, 1,009 times he heard, "No thank you." But on the 1,010th try, someone finally said yes. One restaurant gave his recipe a chance. It became a hit with customers. Then another restaurant followed. And another. Slowly but surely, KFC was born. Not in a boardroom with million-dollar investors, but on the back roads of America by a man who refused to quit. By the time Sanders was 73, he had grown KFC into a franchise chain with over 600 locations. He later sold the business for $2 million, equivalent to tens of millions today, but he stayed on as the face of the brand. The Colonel in the white suit became a global icon. Today, KFC has over 25,000 outlets in more than 145 countries. The Colonel's image remains on every bucket of chicken, an eternal reminder of what's possible when you refuse to give up. Colonel Sanders didn't find success in his youth. He wasn't rich, he didn't have a fancy education, and he wasn't born into a powerful family. In fact, his life was filled with struggle and failure. But here's the truth: he never stopped believing in himself. He never stopped trying. And most importantly, he started when most people would have stopped. His story isn't just about chicken. It's about resilience, faith, and the power of persistence. It's about understanding that your dreams don't have an expiry date. So the next time you feel too old, too tired, or too defeated to begin again, remember this: Colonel Sanders was 65 when he built an empire. You're not too late. You're right on time. Keep going.